Hey guys, and welcome back to another thrilling adventure of Slim Jim Jammer on YouTube. You're back, guys, here at my channel. This is Slim Jim Jammer, your boy Jimmy out of Brooklyn, here with another weekly episode. Today we're talking about jury duty. I don't know if anyone's actually been called for jury duty before. The classic idea is that once you get called for jury duty that you don't want to do jury duty. You want to get immediately out. People will often, as I've heard, do everything in their power to not have to be on a jury. They ask you all these questions when you're going to be waiting to get onto the jury. And all these different questions are things that will absolve you from the jury if you are biased in a certain way. If there's a case and there's a police officer on the case, they'll ask you how you feel about police, that sort of idea. Now, personally, I got called onto a jury. I'm mid-20s, something like that. And when I got called onto this jury, I really wanted to be on the jury. I'd never been on a jury before. At the time, I was in between jobs, so I wasn't going to be missing any work. As well, they paid you some awful amount of money. I think I got $40 a day for 8 hours. Like I said, I was in between work, so I was like, got a little bit of money in my pocket, and I'm a comedian. I get to go into jury duty and see all this wildness, and then I get material. And you're gonna pay me? Not so bad. So in my mind, I was gonna do everything in my power to get onto this jury, the opposite of the other people in there. I said, I'm just gonna say every answer that I think they want to hear to get me onto that jury. So when I was in this jury selection process, before they tell you any of the details of the case, and they went through and started asking different people questions, they're disqualifying jurors left and right. They get to me, and they ask me, how do you feel about police officers? How do I feel about police? I love police. They are fighters for truth and justice and the American way. I think that was one of the main questions they asked. I don't remember what other questions they asked, but bingo bango, I was on that jury. Anywho, fast forward, I get chosen for jury duty. And when I get chosen for jury duty, I'm gonna be on the jury. They first have to teach you how to be a juror. And you go to watch some terrible videos that will teach you how to do jury duty. And these videos explain the process of deciding someone's fate. And what they do to give you examples about deciding someone's fate, they show you the ways that they used to decide people's fate in the olden days. And they bring up the Salem witch trials. They say, in the olden times, they would try to see whether or not you were guilty. And what they would do is they would tie you up to a bunch of rocks and throw you into the lake. And if you drowned, you were innocent. And if you floated, you were guilty. And then they would put you to death. Okay, why are you telling me about this no-win scenario of old-timey juring and old-timey courts? It seemed terrifying that they were putting me into that process. I was like, am I just supposed to say guilty no matter what? They also had another example. The other example that they had was, in old trials, they would tie you to a wooden stake and light the stake on fire. If the flames engulfed your body and burned you at the stake, you were said to be innocent. If the flames did not burn you and did not engulf your flesh, you were guilty, and hence put to death. Only someone magical's body wouldn't burn. What? Okay. So this is what I'm seeing in this giant jury processing room, waiting with all these other jurors. They tell me I'm not allowed to talk about the court case until after it's done. So this is, again, where we're safe, guys. As well, they tell me not to visit any of the locations that they're going to talk about in the court case, and not to do any of our own investigating, which made me think of oh so many hard-boiled detective novels and movies. I said, what, am I gonna go into a noir situation? I'm gonna get over there. I'm gonna crack the case, baby. You just tell me the stuff, I'm cracking the case. This is what it's about. Nah. So we get into the court case. It takes place in a bar. And in this bar, there was a guy. All they will tell us is that the guy had been banned from the bar. They wouldn't tell you why he had been banned from the bar. That was not information we were allowed to have. He gets to the bar. Story goes, he is told to leave the bar, in which he refuses. The bar does not have a bouncer. The bar had a female bartender. She didn't have the ability to remove him from the bar. So he refuses to leave, and she says, I'm not going to serve you. And he goes, okay, I'm going to go play pool. And he goes to play pool. At which point, another patron of the bar noticed that this guy was sort of unruly and began to film him with their camera phone, which was a piece of evidence that we watched in the court case. It had kind of muffled sound because of the loud noise of the bar and the music and such. The person under investigation that they were pressing charges against, he proceeds to go play pool with his friend and antagonize a man that is sitting at a table who we later are told was the owner of the bar. He antagonizes him to this idea that we're informed from other witnesses, saying that he won't kick him out of the bar because he's not man enough, and things along that kind of line. He then proceeds to approach the bar owner and yells something at him that we can't make out. And then he picks up the bar owner's phone, stares him in the face as he picks it up, and then he begins to walk away. At which point the bar owner jumps after him, and they both go off screen, but we can see it looks as though the bar owner tackles him off screen. For this reason, it was not an assault case, it was a robbery case, because the patron didn't attacked the bar owner attacked the patron for seemingly taking his phone, and the case was robbery for the guy stealing the phone from the bar owner. We were never shown a picture of the phone. We never saw the phone broken itself. We were just told the phone got broken. And one of the descriptions we were given for robbery is to take an item from someone with the intent of destroying it, or appropriating it, or selling it, or keeping it, or whatever. That's all different robbery types. It was incredibly boring. It's so procedural. When you watch a courtroom TV show, they cut out all the boring stuff. There's so much crap they gotta go through. Just reading and reading and reading all of these lines and stuff, and making you stand and making you leave, and there's stuff you're not allowed to hear, so they'll stand you up and walk you out and then walk you back in, and then someone's gotta say something you're not allowed to hear, so they walk you out and you gotta go sit in this room. I can see why people don't want to do jury duty, because it was maddening, the proceduralness of it. The judge was super no-nonsense, couldn't talk back to her in any event. People would try to speak up and they would get shouted down by the judge, which was horrifying to me. I remember sitting there going, I'm glad I'm not on trial, am I? We end up going back after the whole thing is done. I believe it was 2 or 3 days to hear the case. 3 days, maybe. One thing about the case was that he was charged with criminal mischief originally. And later we heard that the bar owner, he testified that he went to the police station and talked to an officer, like a lieutenant that he knew, and they changed the designation of the crime from criminal mischief to robbery because of the phone being broken. So that happened, which I thought sounded a little bit suspicious. I just had this inkling feeling that the man didn't actually steal the guy's phone. He picked up the guy's phone to get him to attack him, antagonizing him. And then the man did exactly that. And that's why it wasn't a straight across the board assault case and all this. And I feel like that's why it was a little convoluted. We get back to the jury room. There are 12 jurors, like 12 Angry Men, that kind of idea. Obviously, it's mixed, male and female. And there was 2 alternate jurors. And the 2 alternate jurors, there's 14 of us all together. The 2 alternate jurors, technically, their votes did not count unless one of us got sick. They were just there in case one of the 2 of us got sick. But we included them in the conversation and allowed them to give their opinions on things. And we took their votes just to know where they stood for later. When we went around, they did an initial vote, like they did in that film, 12 Angry Men, if you haven't seen it. And when they did the initial vote for, was this guy guilty of robbery? And they went around the table. The votes were 13-1. And you know who the one was. Chiboy. That's right. It was me. I was the only one that said not guilty. And why did I say not guilty? Not because I thought the guy was not guilty, because I had a reasonable doubt, which is all we were told they needed to have in order to not put someone away into prison. Everyone there was immediately going, oh, explain yourself. And me being a comedian and me being a talker and getting to speak to these people in the room to plead for someone that I personally thought the guy, he had this look, it was so strange. He had a look like a supervillain, the guy who was on trial. It wasn't important, but I remember him walking in like, and it was creeps. So, but I'm not going to hold that against the guy. He had like one of those like 80s mullets. That was kind of crazy, from like Captain Planet. Anyway, I said I have a reasonable doubt, and I explained my whole theory. The guy didn't try to steal the phone, because if he tried to steal the phone, the bar owner's phone was sitting on the table, and he was having a meeting with another gentleman that also testified. And both their phones are sitting on the table. As you do, you take your phone out. You better be interesting in the next 10 minutes because my phone's on the table. And I said, well, if it was a robbery, if this guy was really trying to come in here and steal the guy's phone, wouldn't he do it when he wasn't looking? Like, I'm not a thief. But it just seems like not rocket science to know that it's a lot easier to steal something from someone if they're not aware of you stealing it than if you take it right in front of them. And not only did he take the phone right in front of the guy, said he's screaming at the guy in his face, and he took the phone and then he waited for like a beat. There was a full beat, like do something. He took it like, do something, do something. Then the guy didn't do anything. And in that moment, I think he tried to raise the stakes and say, I ain't gonna do anything, all right, this guy is a push. And he started to walk away. And when he started to walk away, then the guy, I think, snapped into it and said, oh my God, he's actually taking my phone. I don't think the bar owner realized what was happening in the moment. It was like so heightened with the adrenaline until he's like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose my phone. And he went and attacked the guy. So that was my theory. I said, I just don't know that he was trying to rob it. It doesn't seem like it was something you would try to do in a theft. He didn't come in with this, it didn't seem like he came in with intention. I go, I don't know. Maybe he did. Seems like in the moment, and they were like, they said the same way, like we had to go through the court and we had to have them to talk about and re-explain like what institutes motive. Like, do I have to have motive from before, or can I create a motive in the moment and then have a crime? They're like, no, motive can pop up at any time. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be preconceived, the motive. But it was the idea. I said, it just doesn't, I feel like he wanted him to attack him, and I feel like he got his wish, and maybe he didn't know the guy was gonna go ham bone on him. So I said, all I got is I doubt it. I don't know. I convinced one other person. And after I convinced one other person, they were like, you know what? Maybe he's right. It just doesn't seem so cut and dry. Like, maybe he was just trying to fight the guy. And he was coming in to start a problem, to start an issue. So he just tried to raise the stakes and start more of an issue. He was a problem. And if it was a robbery, wouldn't it have been a robbery the first time he walked in? Not later on when you go to the police officer that you are friends with and then he raises the charge kind of thing? Come on. So another person and another. And all of a sudden, we're in that jury room talking about it back and forth for 4 or 5 hours. And there's only 2 people that are left that now say he's guilty. And now it's 12 to 2. Again, 2 of them didn't count because the 2 alternates changed their opinion as well. But it was 2 holdouts. It was just like like I say, in the end of 12 Angry Men. One of the holdouts, he was just like, the guy's a criminal. Just look at him. I'm putting him away. That sort of thing. Kind of Law and Order kind of juror. And then there was another one, and he was just being stubborn. He said, I can't see it. That's the theft is theft, baby. That's that. So maybe they were on a similar tip about a crime is a crime is a crime is a crime, my guy. Even if they charged him wrong. Because that's kind of what I was saying. I kind of feel like they charged the guy incorrectly. If this was a case, did this guy come in and commit criminal mischief? Yes. Did he commit robbery? Maybe not. So we're going back and forth, and we're going back and forth. And again, they've told us that if the guy got sentenced, he would get 5 to 10 years in prison. That was going to be the sentencing if we found him guilty. So goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And they're going to close the court for the day. That's at the end of the day. So we're like, oh boy, we're going to have to come back tomorrow or tell them we're a hung jury, whatever, because we haven't come to a decision. At the end of the day, the judge comes back and they say, what's up? We say, we haven't come to a decision yet. And she goes, okay. And she leaves. They go and they talk to the defense attorney and to the defendant, and he pleads guilty. And when he pleads guilty, he takes the plea bargain deal. So rather than getting 5 to 10 years, I believe he got 1 to 2 years, something like that. And I was like, justice is served, my guy. Because he did come in and start a problem and create something. And I was like, 5 to 10 years for starting a fight with a guy? I don't know about that noise, my guy. But, hey, you make your bed, you gotta lie in it, right? So that was my white hat moment. That was my Henry Fonda moment. My 12 Angry Men. I'm telling you guys, I'm here for you. I'm on the side of justice. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm your boy, Slim Jim Jammer. We'll be back next week with another episode. Like, subscribe. See you guys again next time.